Good morning, everyone. I just had a quick little reminder here before the video started. I wanted to remind everyone that I do, in fact, have a replay email now. It is going to be down in the description below. Feel free to take your replay and upload it to either Google Drive or Dropbox, honestly, whatever file sharing service you prefer, and send it in. I'd love to have a look at y'all's replays, maybe review, maybe just have a good laugh with you. Whatever the case is, I really appreciate those that send it in, and I look forward to seeing what you guys submit. Alright everyone, welcome to Jungle Law. Today we're going to be watching a 4v4 replay that I had. I was playing a Finnish deck, just Finland, no Poland, just because I enjoy it. It's not a better deck, it really isn't. I just kind of enjoy playing just Finland though. Anyways, my team here, not a JTAC, 5 rows. Oh my god, I am so bad today. And Flappy are going to be holding the majority of the map, and I'm going to be over here in Mike. So I believe what ends up happening is JTAC takes over here, and then Flappy and K-Rose end up over here. On this side of the map, for Blufor, we will end up having Hike and Rain, I believe, kind of from Mike to this corner of Golf. And then we will have Hamburger, I think, playing right here. And then I love Gravioli over here in Echo. Echo is going to be kind of a slow fight, but there's some really interesting units that come out over here that I don't think I've ever actually seen used in a match. So we will highlight that, but most of the action is going to be kind of in this part of the map. So let's go ahead and speed it up just a little bit. Floppy will take this forest pretty much uncontested and support here. But I really enjoyed this match. Some kind of interesting things happened, and right here, rolling down the road, this KX185, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, does some really interesting stuff here pretty much right off the bat. So I just go ahead and throw a recon helo kind of to its death, trying to figure out where enemies are going, looking for helo rushes. We do spot the SAS, so I know for sure that these guys are going to be active. Probably coming to this town. I even mark it for my team so they know what's up. As far as in Mike, there was no helicopters really outside of these Rangers, but I'm able to get a team of Erics in here pretty safely, and that's going to be big here in the future. Flappy here starts off with the MiG-25, and he is trying to seed any of their AA here in the middle at the start. For a very good reason. We are going to bomb the hell out of this little town because this is about the only foothold that Blue's going to be able to have. So here, very shortly, about the time the vehicles really start showing up, you're going to see them come in. There we go. SU-22 M4s. And I thought there was actually SU-24s coming in. But maybe it's just this guy. They're going to come in here and try and wipe out this town. Back over here, this is where our 185 is going to really shine. One fatal flaw, I don't know if anyone has spotted it yet, is Blue did not bring any mortars in their initial push at all. And me playing Finland means a good number of my units are actually motorized. So I'm able to take this position relatively quickly and get in here relatively quickly. I did also bring mortars, so even though these Erics are way outnumbered here, I will win this fight. So let's go ahead and just kind of watch the chaos that will unfold here. I do see the M1A2 pulling up, so I start rolling my guys back. And the 185's trying to get hits in, completely whiffs this first shot. Next shot loses line of sight, whiffs it. Third shot going out right into the ground. But the fourth one is the really interesting one. I don't know if y'all can see this. This Abrams is side on to him. So, here in just a second. That is right. This boy, at the very start of the match, wipes out an M1A2. And that kind of sets the tone over here. Luckily for Blue, there are 2 players with a fair bit of stuff over here. See, Rain and Hike. Rain also has these guys, but I think they're pretty much completely dedicated over here. On the right side, Blue is able to easily take Echo. But this middle fight isn't going so great for Blue at the moment. Left side, though, I am pretty severely outnumbered. These guys I've written off. I was really getting them in there to kind of try and see what blue had coming into this forest, and they're just goners. X85 killed a M2A2 Bradley. And then another vehicle here. The SAS are going to just barely survive. But one squad does get eliminated, but my Eric's also only barely survive. Block 5 coming in here in the middle, getting its bombs out. It is going to do some decent damage right now. And we lost a whole group of proletary, but the stealth recon tank has shown up to turn the tide along with the M1M. Back over to the left side. The XA-185 claims yet another target, and it is now an elite unit. But blue has caught on to it, and it is marked for death at this point. Some bombing runs coming here. These are the 24s that I thought they actually initially bombed over here. Anyways, blue isn't doing quite as well in this forest as they initially started off to, but they still have a decent amount over here. I've seen 2 players, so I'm a little bit hesitant to push. This Block 52 gets fairly lucky too. It avoids 2 of these ITO missiles, and then the third one doesn't crit it, so it gets to survive. And the very last missile for this ITO is going to go after this Harrier that's going after, and again, not a crit, so it gets away. Our hero here just barely survives the bombing run. Well, I say barely. He has all of his HP, but that bombing run was relatively close. So let's go check on the right side of the map real quick. Right side of the map. It's kind of a stalemate right now. Not a JTAC is taking this very slowly. I think he saw all the helicopters come in and just kind of knew that he wasn't going to be able to just rush in there with his unit. So he's taking a sweet time, which I think is the right call. Middle of the map, completely uncontested. Flappy is slowly moving his stuff up, trying to figure out where the enemy is, trying to figure out maybe if they're down in here, but nothing's coming. In the middle, we have completely wiped out any presence of Blufor, and we have control of Golf entirely. We'll call in, I think we already did call in a CV, and it's coming in to cap it, because this is Conquest after all. Left side, their mortars have shown up now after losing 2 relatively expensive tanks. So, now I've got to do a little bit of mortar dodging. That being said, I do have plenty of fire support here, which is something that blue doesn't have in abundance. So this push at the moment is going relatively well. On the right side, the first contact has been made. TO-55 burning out this Canadian airborne, while these guys are pretty much consistently stunned by the BTRDs. Super underrated units here. They really are. They're pretty good. So, but again, this fight's going to be relatively a relative slow grind. I do think this TO-55 gets side-shotted here in a second by the Leopard. Bye-bye. Back over to the left. Oh, we just missed something. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. That's later. Okay, cool. We have this push going relatively well over here still. This XA-85 is claiming a couple more victims. It's just 5-point transports. Nothing really too big to brag about. And the Erics are getting healed up. I think it might actually kill this Bradley here. I'm not sure. In here, there isn't really a whole lot outside of the SAS to compete. But these territorials will be a stopgap, and here comes a bombing run. Unfortunately, I haven't had enough time to get supplies over to the ITO, and I am about to lose quite a bit of infantry all at once. So at this point, it's time for me to start pulling back. Teammate brings in a CV, even though I have a CV right here that decided to take a little stroll through the forest. Tornado comes in pretty deep, gets an Su-24, but gets taken out by a PU in return. Over here on the right side, these T-64 BMs are tanks I've never seen used. 100-point tanks, they seem pretty solid overall. I just never seen them used personally. They're not the most interesting thing that ends up over here, but anyways, this is turning into a little bit of a stalemate again while my teammate brings up more AA, and he's going to bring up quite a bit more infantry. Back over to this side. This town has gotten very desperate for me very quickly. These riflemen are coming out pretty aggressively, and I can see supporting vehicles coming down the road. I go ahead and ping for help, knowing that my allies have some stuff nearby, but it's looking like this town might be a goner for the moment. Over here, the SAS attempted to cross, but just the sheer number of fire support vehicles I have in this tree line made it next to impossible. What Blue really needs to do here is bring in an M1 Abrams, or 2 or 5, into this forest. They're going to bring in a Ha, which is... it's a pick, but I don't know if it's the best pick for the situation. Unfortunately, for me, these warriors are pushing up with the Rardens. I kind of know this is an untenable position. So I'm going to put the Erics in a position to maybe get a shot off on one of the warriors. And they're able to take one out, and now it's time for them to leave. I'm using... well, actually, Blue is helpfully smoking for me, but I'm also going to smoke up these guys and artillery the enemy as I leave. This blue smoke is very helpful. I really do appreciate that. This command tank is about to actually start engaging, willingly engaging these riflemen here. I really don't want these riflemen to get into this bush, so I'm willing to shoot at them with the command tank, knowing probably here in a second I'm going to have to vacate this. The Erics are going to make it out just fine. The smoke screen is more than big enough to cover them. Over here on the right side, the tanks have pushed up just a little bit. This is a little bit of a risky spot. If these Canadian airborne were just to go pop, 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 they could easily side shot these tanks, but luckily for us, they don't. VDV 90 are going to get in here on this town fight, and they are going to fight a little bit, but I don't think these Pioneers last very long. Here in the middle, Blue has put some units back in the middle, but they're mostly going to start sending... see, Hamburger's going to start sending units over here on the left side and providing air support. So unfortunately for me over here in Mike, things are about to get really busy with 3 whole players dedicating the reinforcements to this zone. And I did throw a group of Yakri in here just to see if I could contest the town, but no, that just wasn't going to happen. Over here on the right side, the Pioneers went ahead and backed off. He rearranged his units a little bit, but unfortunately for these Canadian airborne, they don't really have anywhere to run, and they are just getting mowed down by a Tunguska and several BTRDs. And some of y'all might have just noticed the very interesting unit that is now coming in. I have never seen these used in a match. They are Centurion Mark 5s with S-11 missiles strapped to the front. How much are they? They're 30-point tanks from Canada. And I know they used to be meta like way, way, way back in the day because their armor value was higher. At least I think that these are them. I could be wrong. But I've never seen them used in a match that I've played. Over here on the right side, quad stacks of Canadian rifles trying to make their presence known over here, but just with the amount of fire support he has, them coming over these hills isn't going to work very well. Over here on the left side, I have been severely overwhelmed. Corps Mariniers, groups of Marines, SMAs, just way more units than what I had. So I'm going to try and put up a little bit of a fight here so that way my teammate can evac his CV, and I'm typing to him, evac your CV, move your CV, defense. I'm going to ping a whole lot more here in a second. Meanwhile, I'm backing up some of my more valuable units that aren't really going to be beneficial here while sacrificing some cheaper stuff. And unfortunately for me, these guys get stuck in the mud and they're panicked. XA-85, this is a different one, and it gets taken out by M8. Our friend that was elite, unfortunately, got artillery to death when I wasn't paying attention. So, he's gone. Luckily for me, though, the BMPTs are able to wipe out that M8. And here is another big issue that's about to happen. This Moderna is pushing into this town. Not really a reason to do this, and unfortunately, there is no smoke or real cover for him. So, as you can see, the OCU is going to come in and just wipe it out. Nice, easy side shot. Not the best use of a Moderna. So we've lost 2 super heavies in this game to side shots like that. Left side is completely fallen for everything except for my Erics here in this little bush. So I'm going to keep artillerying some of their stuff that I've spotted, but Mike is essentially lost for now. The best I can do is just try and get some stuff over to contest. I have a teammate coming over to help, and I'm getting some recon over here. So we'll come back to this in a sec. Right side, the Centurion 5 ATs are in a gunfight, well, a missile and gunfight with the T-64 BVs. And these missiles are just so inaccurate and so slow that they are just impossibly easy for the 64s to dodge. But they were more of a distraction for the C2 to come in and get a side shot. And it had it, and it could have wiped out this 64, but it just missed, which is really unfortunate for Blue. That could have been just such an easy kill for them. Blue and Red are both in this town, mere buildings apart, but cannot see each other. I don't think I've ever seen a standoff like this before. I mean, these Canadian airborne might have even been able to shoot that Tunguska. They probably could have, but this is just one of the oddest standoffs I think I've ever seen. Blue really needs fire support vehicles up here and over here, but the calm comes to an end as Blue goes ahead or Red goes ahead and pushes up. And now it's quiet again. Over here, these Centurions are all so close together that I think there was a bombing attempt that was going to happen on them, but it just was not to be. And now Blue looks like they're just going to try and swarm. Another interesting thing that's happened, Flappy here has actually managed to push pretty much all the way into Charlie. Completely uncontested. He was helping out here, and then he got bored because there wasn't a whole lot going on over here. So he started pushing this way, and he doesn't have any real competition at the moment, which is very interesting. This is essentially kind of a U-shaped front right here, and Blue's about to have a group completely cut off and encircled. Back over here on the left side, things are going much better for Blue. I had some infantry come up just to kind of see what's going on, and I don't know if you guys saw that. They're supply helicopters. Did get spotted coming in. I sent a helicopter again, kind of as a suicide scout, just trying to figure out what was going on. And I saw these supply helicopters come in, so I dropped an Ava on them, and they are gone now. Another Ava's coming in, trying to get these Corpse Marineers who were here on the edge of the forest. But unfortunately, that bomb isn't going to fly quite where I wanted it, and only going to get one out of the two. So Blue's presence here has been greatly diminished in just a couple of bombing runs. But they have more units coming in, and they'll keep swarming stuff in here to hold it for just a little while longer. MiG-25 comes in, gets some AA. Remember to try and micro your AA when you can. I'm not fantastic at that. Right now my AA is even left on, even though I was microing it earlier. Right side, we have countercapped Echo putting us at a +1, and we are contesting Charlie right here. Unfortunately for Flappy, these guys got in here about the time these Grizzlies were rolling up, so these Highlanders were able to offload, and they're in a good building where fire support can't really help. And unfortunately for him, the Tunguska doesn't have enough range to have kept the OCU from doing that. But it did cost Blue their OCU, which I think is a really good trade in the end. Over here, these Centurions are just getting rocketed to death by Mi-24s. Good lord. And Flappy is going to try and sneak himself a CV in right here and give us a +3 for a little while. Let's see if that will actually come to fruition. In the middle, nothing is really happening. Blue has pushed into this forest and has created some scuffles in here, but there isn't any real territory gain. They're not bringing a CV in yet. They are bringing a CV here, but they already had one coming. That CV would be better off somewhere in this forest line here. Left side, I am starting to kind of probe a little bit with these BMPs. One of them has already fired quite a few rounds at, I can't remember what. And I was able to spot these LAVs with the Erics. So here comes another Avia 28 to say hello. I'm gonna spot them again briefly here. Let's just show that. Maybe. I think I do spot them again. Maybe I don't. I'm just gonna kind of guesstimate where they were. No, I don't spot them again. I just kind of guesstimate where they are going and drop a nice big bomb. pretty much right on top of where they offloaded. And that's going to lose a couple of the LAV TPs and one of the small groups. More importantly, though, it's going to do morale damage. Over here, they're smoking up my tanks for whatever reason. They were trying to artillery a M1 mod, but it just... I dodged it, and it doesn't really do a whole lot. I got kind of lucky here. This T-72 goes sideways to the Corps Mariniers, but it's just out of the range. I wasn't really microing that. I just got lucky. And that little bombing run is what I'm going to use to kind of kick off this push here. Blue is trying to counter battery my mortars back here, but I keep them moving consistently. That is something to always do. Actually, they're trying to already that. Never mind. Over here, we have managed to cap this sector. Unfortunately, Blue has CVs and Mike now, so we're not at a +3. We're only at a +2. But having a T80U and a CV in here is a big advantage, and this is taking Hamburger off of my front. That's the biggest thing that's really helping here. Fortunately, this Hawk decided that it didn't want to release its bombs over here where I asked it to. Not that that would matter, but the Block 52 is going to take it out easily and get out without getting scraped at all. This town has turned into quite the slog for us and Blue. We have tons of VDV in here, tons of other infantry, but that town doesn't matter if you can just go around, and that's exactly what we're doing. For us, we don't know this, but the enemy CV is on the other side of this town, making it a very easy target, especially for these VDV right here. Back to the middle, nothing. Again. But on the left side, I've managed to push up some units pretty far, so I know that there probably isn't much of anything in here left. So I'm going to get fairly aggressive and start pushing units forward. These T-72, I'm going to try and get these LAV scouts without getting killed by the M1 Ha. And I do see it coming up, so I start smoking off this tank almost immediately when I see the M1 start moving. And I'm only able to get one of them out, but that's a-okay. Blue, thinking that I actually offloaded infantry here with these BTRs, start artillerying. But luckily for me, I didn't actually have infantry in there. And here comes our tornado train. Good lord, there are so many of them, and I should have attacked move this guy, but I didn't. But I could have probably gotten some splash damage there. They were so close. Unfortunately for us, Blue was able to dislodge us fairly quick from this. They brought in lots of infantry, some tanks, and air support, and so this zone just got demolished, and we're back to even, but we were able to gain a substantial amount of points in that amount of time. And we're about to be at a +1 again here in a second once I get this Copa back in Mike. Over here, we are getting really close to the CV, just not quite there, but Blue has a whole load of recon and tanks coming to try and clear out right here. We'll see how that goes. Again, one thing that's missing, though, is mortars. Mortars are so important, especially for operating across open fields like this. Don't forget to bring them. Right here. Yeah, I'm just going to prep here for just a little bit because all my units were getting kind of spread out. There's the counter battery that I was thought that I was commentating on earlier. Again, just every time you fire your mortars, set them to move somewhere random. Just have a move. Here, there's a suicide Alouette again. I know some of y'all might not like that, but I do really like just kind of getting an eye on what is going on. Now, I'm going to sacrifice some of these BTR-50s here to try and get this M1 to stay engaged. I do spot the riflemen coming across and start dropping smoke here to protect the side of my M1 mod. I have these panzers here that will protect it, hopefully, from any infantry. But I really don't want to lose it to infantry in the flank, so I'm trying to keep it smoked up. Get one good shot in on the M1. The M1 was still firing at the Yakri. Now it's backed off so far. It doesn't have any shots at the mod, but the mod doesn't have any shots at it at the moment. So things will be calm for just a second, but I push it forward just a little bit more and start getting shots in. Rover Milan shows up in time to start firing rounds at the M1 mod, but it is only a Milan 1, so it's not going to do a whole lot damage-wise. It's going to try, though. It's going to try really hard and take the M1 mod down just a little bit. Hike here decides that he needs to try and get some damage in, and I think he's figuring that since his tank is less valuable than mine, if he can just get some damage in, maybe the Milan could finish it off, but between the mortars and the tank fire, both of those threats are gone. This push here is not going fantastic. I didn't push up my fire support fast enough. I was too busy microing this, and I'm losing Yakari very quickly. Back over here on the right side, we are finally making ground in here. We have bombed the hell out of this, and there's no real fire support left over here, and we should be able to easily take Echo now. All these vehicles have shown up, but again, there's just a lot of fire support here, and they're not exactly ideal for dealing with this. Over here, we still have a foothold in Charlie, but how long will that last? Blue's starting to throw a lot at Charlie to try and kick us out, including a Leo 2 A5, which we don't really have anything. Oh wait, we have a double stack of UMs now. I didn't see that. But so we do have some stuff to really contest this. So this will stay a problem. At this point, Blue realizes they don't have anything left in here, and they just pull their CV out. I would have actually suggested leaving your CV in because it is Conquest. It's a 100-point CV. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to lose it, but you could have sacrificed some cheaper stuff kind of in the town first and then keep it on the road and just hightail it out after. Left side, pushing up with T-72 M1s and some Panzer Yakari. I do see a lot of stuff coming in over here, though. I thought I saw more than just what's coming in right now, so I am going to back some stuff off until these Yakari can get in. Also, Blue has been fairly consistently artillerying that position, and I don't really feel like losing more to artillery. So one thing I want to highlight here is there's people that don't like the T-55M, and it's not the best tank, but for 65 points, it can be really great in a fire support role from a forest like this because of the medium stealth. A lot of people really, that's what makes the 84AN so good, but the T-55 is kind of like a mini version of that, and it's fairly good at doing fire support because, let's switch over to Blue here real quick. They can see that there's something firing from here, but they really don't know what it is until the main gun fires, and even then they still don't know what it really is. And at any further range than that, most units don't even spot that. So it's really easy to keep these things alive and keep the enemy kind of guessing as to what it is. So they might think it's an 84AN, which might make some people really aggressive about getting rid of it. So the left grind is still going. Hike is throwing units in here. Oh, is he using a... He's using a general deck, no nation. But Rain, for the most part, has switched his focus to more in this area. He did still have some mortars around. He did have some vehicles out here, but things aren't going great. This was excellent coordination without me even having to say anything. K-Rose here saw that I had all this infantry coming up and knew that I was getting ready to do a relatively big push. And so he just decided that this forest would stop existing. It would just burn to the ground. And this was a big help for this push. It doesn't really kill a whole lot of units, but these Marines get encased in fire, so they have to become panicked to get out of there. And I'm pretty sure they come out of this panic. Do they not? No, they don't. They're calm. I don't know why I thought they came out panicked. Anyways, it cuts off reinforcements. It allows me to actually get in here and make quick work of a whole bunch of the units here. Blue is artillerying this position, but I'm starting to push out of it, so that's not a big deal at all. Okay, there they go. They go to shaken. I thought they were panicked and they had some morale recovery before we fought, but whatever. Back to the middle. Blue is finally trying to make some kind of headway into golf in the middle since they got pushed out over here. Unfortunately for them, it's just not really going to happen. They just don't have a whole lot here. They don't have the critical mass required to push through. On the left side, it is starting to fall apart for them. And unfortunately for them, on the right side, we have retaken, or at least re-countercapped Charlie and completely taken Echo. So now we're at a +4. And unfortunately for Blue, it's looking like the game is over. They pushed pretty hard and were able to really keep this match fairly entertaining for the majority of the game, but I Love Gravioli quits and leaves, but the other three are going to hang on for just a little bit while longer, but nothing's really going to happen. And here in a second, this is what's going to make most of them just decide the game's over. Napalming Mike here, it's going to put us at a +5. And at that point, the game really is just over. It's 10 minutes. We're at a +4. We have all the terrain. So, good game to Blue. They kind of got their teeth kicked in everywhere. But it wasn't like just a complete steamroll for the most part. The middle, yeah, they got completely steamrolled. But on the left side, they put up a really, really solid fight. And the right side was a pretty solid fight. They weren't the newest of players either. I had more experience than most of them, I think. I don't remember. But they did a really good job. I really enjoyed this game. I love force fighting like that. And it was just so entertaining. My team was awesome. I really do appreciate teammates that have good game sense and are aware of what's going on in more than just their area. I am not very good at that, honestly, but whew, that was a fun game. Lots of grinding in that forest over there. Excuse me. And I had just tons of fun. I wound up coming very positive. A lot of my kills came off of those Ava runs and being able to kill off super heavies. But gosh, such a fun game. I really do love Wargame whenever things flow pretty smoothly back and forth. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. I do appreciate every single one of y'all for sticking around to the end, and I will catch y'all later. Adios.